Hi, I'm Chris Nedza, Lead Entrepreneur in Residence of the Advanced Technology Development Center at Georgia Tech. We're the state of Georgia's technology incubator. Welcome to Season 1 of the ATDC podcast, Executive Bytes. We focus on the startup founders in our portfolio, what sparked them to launch their companies, the market problem they've solved, and even how they overcame the thoughts of quitting when times get rough. Enjoy. I have the pleasure of spending some time. We're going to learn a little bit about Sander Biehn, who is one of my favorite CEOs at ATDC. He's part of our signature program, which means they're scaling and taking off. And Sander, I've watched you go for a couple of years now, 2 years, 3 years, maybe 2 years, I think.
It's a little less than that. It's like a year and a half, Chris, but time flies when you're having fun.
So what I want people to know about you is what a kind person you are, and how much I enjoy spending time with you and learning about you. You're super smart. And so let's dive into your company is ReadyForSocial. Mm-hmm. Okay, so here's what I think you do. I used to do a lot of work with Fortune 500 companies in their marketing, sales and marketing groups. And one thing that our large enterprises need, a lot of them have huge sales organizations. You've got all these salespeople out there. And today, social media is more important than ever in sales, because sales, it tends to be an outward going, mode. Like I'm making a sales call, I'm sending an email. Clever marketing gets the phone to ring. It's a heck of a lot easier to answer a phone call when a customer is like, "Hey, I'm curious about your product," versus I'm begging you to answer, like, just please listen to my phone call. So the problem is that if you have a lot of salespeople, they have to have consistent marketing strategies, consistent marketing messages. They've got to send that, they've got to be engaged if you're enterprise sales at LinkedIn. They've got to do posts, they've got to be right, they've got to be on target, they've got to be on message. And the counter is that your marketing departments are often gatekeepers. So yes, we want the look, we want the feel, but you also have to have a lot of stuff going out as a salesperson. Most salespeople are not disciplined to get the stuff out on time, consistently, that meets the standards. Yep. Your platform does that for large companies and for enterprises.
Yeah, Chris, and actually that's extremely good explanation of the problem and what we're solving. And people ask, like, well, is this a vitamin or is this a painkiller, right? But the thing that's happened to all of us, if you look over the last several years especially, is the earth has shifted underneath us. And meanwhile, the marketing tools and the sales enablement tools have not changed all that much. They're all still focused on this email, and that's how we're going to reach the customers. And again, it's the difference that you talk about. It's that passive versus active. And really, we're living in a world that's much more, in certain respects, passive on how we buy and how we're influenced.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. In fact, I bet you everybody in this audience is going to go, you're right, I do the same thing. I spend more time looking to delete emails than to read them. I'm like, please let it be. Oh, happy day, I got one I can delete because I've got 8 million. Now I only have 7 million. So,
and we're all the same way. We're protecting our inboxes because otherwise you can't actually see what it is that you have to do from a work point of view. And we're inundated by this. And especially now, if you look at AI and the way these bots are able to function, it is frightening how much we could be spammed and how much we're going to have to actively make sure our inboxes are clean. But meanwhile, the crazy thing about this is we're all scrolling on our phones inside of social media, specifically on LinkedIn for business purposes.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, I'm on it all the time. Please get rid of my email so I can go see what's going on topics that interest me, which happen to be a lot about what's going on in industry. So it makes total sense, like, that you would help these companies, these large enterprises, optimize and maximize and make sure that the messaging is getting out there, right? I mean, that's what you do.
Yeah, it's exactly it.
Yeah, I love that, man. So how did you come up with this idea? I mean, it's a simple idea, and I bet you a lot of people are like, oh, that's easy. Just tell your people to go do it. Yeah. Good luck with that.
Well, that's what I was doing at the beginning. So I started out in consulting, and this is sort of a bit, now that I'm in the startup world, and especially working with the ATDC, I realized that this is a normal playbook. Is that I was working in a large corporate environment. I was a salesperson. I saw the need for this. And I went out initially and I started consulting. And in the parlance of what I've learned here, that's really about customer discovery.
Yep.
So as I was making money from some of these large corporates that I was working for, I was seeing how they were attacking the problem and where the issues were. And so then once I saw where the gap was there and the customer was begging me to create something to fix this problem, then I set about fixing it. And that's been, a little while now. The MVP in 2018, really getting into selling this in 2020 through the pandemic years. And now, here we are looking to do that scale.
Yeah, I love it. I've often thought that there should be a new title at companies, and it ought to be called the CIO, not the Chief Information Officer, but the Chief Influencer Officer. Someone's job to help build your organization as an influencer in your industry, and essentially that's what you're doing. You're helping, you're syndicating that through the entire sales organization. But how smart is it to get a service or technology platform like yours to help our company become the chief influencer in the industry?
Right, and you don't need to be the person with 1 million likes either, or your own YouTube channel. I mean, if you're selling something as mundane as financial services
hey, we got financial tech companies.
Well, yeah, I mean, no, but you're selling them the financials, like say financial services to high net worth individuals in the city of Atlanta who own, certain types of, franchises. Like if that's your target market, getting a couple of likes and engagements may be all you really need to supercharge your business and drive revenue.
So how do you marry? Okay, so we know the pain that you're solving, and it's a big pain. Most people don't realize that they have that pain. They just, the people are just posting whatever they want, or they're not posting anything at all because the police say stop doing that. So that we know the pain, we know the solution. How do you marry and get through the juggernaut, the gatekeepers, and keep them happy? Because the gatekeepers are who?
Yeah, you mean from the point of view of the marketing teams for those salespeople?
Who's the gatekeeper that keeps this is a no-brainer for me. If I were the CEO of a big company, I'd be like, make sure that we have this platform so that we're consistently getting our message out, so that we can have the phone ring.
Yeah. So we sell to marketers. That's our target audience. And when we talk to the marketers, we tell them that we're going to enable their teams to be active and stay individualized.
So marketers, are you talking about the marketing departments or the marketing group within a large enterprise?
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Marketing teams.
So the chief marketing officer.
Right. And so
marketing communication, marcom person.
And this is a great point. And so we're doing a venture capital raise right now, and one of the people who we've been talking to, he articulated it beautifully by saying that, hey, Sandra, you're not really selling to a CMO. You're looking for division level marketers, people who really understand this pain. Like they're creating content and it's not getting viewed. And they want to make sure that it gets viewed. So wait a minute. By getting the salespeople to share it, it gets out there and it's viewed.
Okay, so I don't mean to interrupt, but yeah, I do because I did it.
So it's fine.
Okay, I get it to the marketers, but if I'm running sales and I'm held to, increasing my sales, why as the salesperson or the VP of sales or the director of sales or whatever, why wouldn't I be the customer for you, or am I?
Yeah, the funny thing is you're not, because number one, you don't hold very much budget, so that's something important that we learned early on. And the other thing is, if you let the salespeople run how this is going to go, then it cuts out like the marketing piece, and it's really a top of funnel play. So we're trying to help these people get more active top of funnel. Salespeople are nervous; they want to make sure that they're sharing. Marketers are nervous because they want to make sure their content, their events, everything else that they're promoting is getting shared. So it's about alignment of these two things more than it's about serving one entirely versus the other.
I bet you there's a VP of marketing listening to this right now that's going, that's crap. I've got the budget. I'm making my budget, my own bonuses because my sales team's performing or not performing. I need the phone to ring. So that's interesting.
Well, it is, and a lot of people, if you talk to people who have relationship salespeople, they will tell who are owning a budget and paying for those people, they're wondering why aren't they performing better? And those salespeople that are doing that are very nervous about the inability to call somebody on the phone and get them to pick up so they can tell them about their product and service. And so this sort of marries those two like anxieties and helps to alleviate those two anxieties.
Right. Awesome. I mean, it's a challenge. I get it, but I love what you're doing. So give me are there any industry trends or what's going on? I mean, are they and now that AI has come into the pay, everybody's got AI attached to their name.
You know what's really funny, Chris? So when we first met, AI was sort of just on an emergent thing. But the weird thing about AI is I've been thinking about it, and people will tell you this all the time, I've been thinking about it for a long time, but I didn't know what it was called. So what I knew was that when we were creating posts, because we have to create all those captions, and we create thousands a month. When we had to do all of that by hand, it was very time consuming. We had to hire a lot of people to do this. And the reason now that I'm at ATDC is because there is a technological way to help this to happen. And we talk about AI, but I want to think about this more as IA, intelligent augmentation. So we take the AI and bolt it onto our team, enabling them to just write 100 times more pieces of those captions every single week or month. And it just helps us to scale what we're doing and to really lower the price. When ChatGPT first came onto the market, we actually were using it AI before that with some higher priced companies that were offering AI, prior to ChatGPT. Right. We were on these guys hard because we actually saved about 30% on our people costs that first year just by getting this the AI in there. And so it enables us to do two things: just do things faster, but keeping things personalized for those salespeople. So not everybody's saying the same thing at one time, and it's not a bunch of schlock that AI is cooked up. It's got the marketing messages inserted into what we're writing.
So Sander, what kind of performance increase, or give me some benefits that you can quantifiably say, hey, this is typically what people see when the improvement, because they're going to pay you and they need to see a return on investment. So what can they expect?
Well, Chris, I'm telling you, like one of our customers who works in the HR space, they saw like 700% increase in click-through rate for the things.
700%.
Yes, I mean it is unbelievable. They go when they're just putting out like, hey, we're going to have a webinar, or we're trying to drive people to the website to talk about this or read about that. I mean, we dominate those kind of areas in order driving things through. And it's one of the reasons that this client that we work with has been with us since 2019, because we consistently drive incredible traffic and therefore incredible funnel for them.
And so it's a marketing base. It's not a big spend for them. You get a huge increase. I mean, I love it. I want to ask you a quick question about what have you learned? Is there a big lesson learned from working with large companies versus small ones? Because one thing that was really interesting, I noticed, because I was watching you talk to some people at Venture Atlanta, some VCs were coming up, and they were so funny because a lot of them were like, we need this service. And you're like, we're not really good for small. I mean, you could do it, but you got your lane is enterprise, right? So certainly mid-market or enterprise, large corporations.
Chris, when I was a salesperson, I worked for a stodgy telecom company. Getting people to be interested in what I talked about was really hard. Now I have like a 1,000 batting average on getting people interested in hearing what I'm talking about. There's almost nobody who doesn't want to hear about it. I'll tell you a couple things about work, because we work with a lot of large businesses. So on the one hand, as we look at scale, we need to figure out how to move away from, I'll say, founder-led sales and moving to more of a sales motion. I think we have opportunity with big companies for sure, and doing much expansion, landing small and expanding big, as well as coming into mid-sized businesses that already also have a marketing strategy. But I'll tell you this about large businesses, because I've literally built this to a couple million in revenue annually, by selling just myself. Large companies do one thing consistently: lay people off.
Right.
And that's actually the greatest moment for me, because as we sell to people inside of one company, what happens is they get laid off, and guess who hires them? Another big company. So generally, as people know what we can do, the word of mouth is just incredible, and it's taken us to 2 million. Now, what got us here isn't going to get us there, because this service needs to be known about by a much broader audience, and that's what we're working on now.
I totally agree. Sander, thank you so much. I love what you guys do, and ReadyForSocial is the name of the company. Sander Biehn is the CEO. Thank you for joining me today. We are wearing your jersey and on your team.
Thank you, Chris. It's been awesome working with the ATDC as well.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of the ATDC podcast. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, like, and share or connect wherever you get your podcasts. Please be sure to follow us on social media. Our handle is @ATDC on X, LinkedIn, and Instagram.